Great show for you today. I'm really glad to be back. Of course, we'll be talking our Super Bowl predictions, but we can't and won't ignore all that's been going on with the NFL this past week. We'll have our good friend Alex Funderburke on to talk about Brian Flores' class action lawsuit against the NFL. We'll also be joined by Kellie Campbell for the entire show today, who has been filling in for me the past 2 weeks. And as always, my lovely co-host, Kayla Burge. My name is Hannah Jo Groves. We're so glad to have you with us. Girls on Deck starts now.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated chance, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back, okay? Always locked in, now I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.
Welcome back, everyone. This past week, former Miami Dolphins head coach Brian Flores filed a lawsuit against the NFL and the 32 teams for racial discrimination. We're joined by Alex Funderburke to get his thoughts on the lawsuit and what it means for the NFL. Alex, before we get into the nitty-gritty, how are you today?
I'm doing great. It's Black History Month, so I'm excited to be on. It's been a month since I've been on air, but it's Black History Month, so we're good.
Well, we are so excited to have you back, Alex. Now, let's dive in. The 58-page lawsuit starts off with a text Flores received from Bill Belichick. In the text, Belichick is congratulating Flores on getting a head coaching job with the Giants, a job that he had not yet interviewed for. Turns out that text was meant for Brian Daboll, who was recently named the Giants head coach. Flores believes he was only given an interview with the Giants so the team could satisfy something called the Rooney Rule. The Rooney Rule states that teams are required to interview at least 2 people who are considered minorities for coaching positions. Flores believes this kind of thing, a team knowing who they're going to hire before the interview process is over, has happened to not only him but multiple black coaches in the NFL. Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin and new Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel are the only active black head coaches in all of the NFL. Diversity is also low amongst other positions of the coaching staff, positions like offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, and others. Aside from that, Flores claimed that Stephen Ross, the owner of the Miami Dolphins, bribed Flores back in 2019 to lose games in order to get a better draft pick. Flores refused and believes his refusal is part of the reason he was fired. When he was first let go, I thought it was due to a decision to go with 2 in the long run personally, that their dynamic just wasn't working. But now I feel like we could see that's far from the truth. The lawsuit states black head coaches are far less likely than white head coaches to receive second chances, even as white head coaches are routinely hired by teams even after they fail elsewhere. Brian Flores is a coach who, in my opinion, should have been picked up right away after being fired from the Dolphins. The NFL's response to the lawsuit was that the accusations were, quote, without merit, and then suddenly they're saying that they'll be, quote, reviewing their policies on diversity. Overall, Flores is exposing a problem that's been around for way too long in the NFL. It's heartbreaking to think that we're in the year 2022 and still having issues with equality. To paraphrase a tweet from Mina Kimes, if NFL teams were truly hiring the best man for the job, there would be more than 2 black head coaches in the NFL right now. I know that's a lot, Alex, but let's try and start here. What did you think of the NFL having to alter their response to the lawsuit?
I mean, are we shocked? It's the NFL. Like, they don't get much of anything right. To say a claim that Flores is making is without merit 2 hours after a 58-page lawsuit dropped and you had 0 time to investigate it was ridiculous to start. And then yesterday to say that what the NFL has found in the 4 or 5 days that they've looked into things were unacceptable is something, oh, I could have told you you were going to find that out. Hannah Jo could have told you that. You could have told them that. It's not that hard to see. Brian Flores is saying what everyone has been thinking just out loud.
Kellie, I'm curious about your opinion on the NFL having to kind of change their PR response to this whole thing.
Well, I mean, honestly, like Alex said, it's the NFL. That's what you expect. They were just trying to save face without even looking into it, which is ridiculous. How can you have someone submit 58 pages of evidence thoughtfully, knowing he was going against a multi-billion-dollar corporation, why would he do that without merit? He has the proof. It's right in the pudding.
Yeah, definitely. And Kayla, you mentioned earlier this narrative that had been pushed to us. We talked about it on our show the morning that Brian Flores was fired, that, oh, well, we've heard that he's not on the same page with the team. And this is where this comes in, and it's like, oh yeah, maybe he wasn't if he was being bribed and he wasn't following through with what he was being asked to do. People say, and Alex, I'm curious your opinion on this. People say that the bribing issue is separate from the race issue. I don't know if the two are entirely separate, because there's this idea of go along to get along. And we've shown, NFL has shown black coaches that if you're in this head coaching position, you better do what you can to keep that job, because it's unlikely that you'll receive that opportunity again. So here we are, and people are saying these two things are unrelated, and yet Brian Flores is feeling this pressure. So what do you think these two have to do with each other?
I think that Flores said no to tanking because he knows, hey, if I lose or if I have a bad record, I'm gone. And you saw it. They had 2 winning seasons. That was their first 2 winning seasons since '03. And he still got fired. I mean, this just goes to show you that black coaches are held to such a higher standard than their white counterparts, where you have Joe Judge calling quarterback sneaks on 3rd and 9 from their own 4-yard line, and he had a job 2 weeks after the season ended.
Right.
Luckily, he's gone. But
No, yeah.
A perfect example that I thought of a coach who got one other chance too many is Adam Gase.
Yep.
He had losing seasons with the Dolphins. Then somehow the Jets think that he's going to be their guy. And surprise, surprise, he's not. I was so shocked. I thought, Brian Flores would leave. Maybe he's not working for the Dolphins. And obviously, originally, things have changed. But I was like, no, he'll get picked up right away. So it baffled me that he's not. And it's so upsetting that we're still in these situations. And I commend him for coming out with this. He's a man of character, and I think that's what he's proving in all of this. And I just hope, if anything, that it change within the teams comes out. If he doesn't win or whatever happens, I hope that the teams look at themselves and realize they need to fix themselves.
And he changed the feeling of football in Miami, because for a while there was nobody there. It was empty. And then when we started to win and Tua came, more people started showing up. Were we perfect? No, we still had our downfalls, but people actually showed out. They actually showed up. I was so dumb to me firing him. I don't understand. I will never understand.
Well, and that was the big shocker, was this man had a winning season.
Right.
And he is what they've been calling a Bill Belichick disciple. This is someone who studied under Bill Belichick, and then someone who has a clean record against him. This man has won every game he's played against the Patriots, and then yet we're firing him. A winning coach against this man, Bill Belichick, who arguably is one of the best coaches in the NFL. So, Alex, what do you have to say to that, saying that, people are being picked, it's the best man for the job, and yet Brian Flores is fired from his job?
If it was the best man for the job, we'd have more than 2 black coaches. I think that's the easiest way to put it.
Yeah.
I mean, point blank period, it's 70% of the players are black. Most of the coaches played in the NFL. Not all of them, but the majority. So if we're doing the math here,
right,
we should have more black coaches. But it's crazy because, all but 3 owners are old enough to have gone to school in a segregated school. And now you're wanting these people who, statistically speaking, had parents who are probably against desegregating schools are now running football teams. They love the black bodies who beat themselves up every week but don't think they're smart enough to be their head coaches. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, and a question that I asked myself when this first was coming out was, do we have a lineup of owners who prefer to hire white men as their coaches, or is it the systemic problem in the league? And I think my question was answered by the institution of the Rooney Rule, because since that rule needs to be a thing,
yeah,
that just point exactly.
And the rule doesn't even work. Since it got
Right.
established, Mike McDaniels is the 16th black head coach out of 130 openings. So the Rooney Rule doesn't work. I think how it started in the right place, but it's not implemented correctly. And I don't know what the correct implementation is. I think we got to change the ownership before anything changes.
Okay. Yeah, Kayla, I was curious to hear what you had to say. Hearing all of the stuff that, we talked about on our show, we were saying, oh yeah, well, Brian Flores maybe didn't really get along with Tua, wasn't on the same page with the team. Looking back on saying that, what do you have to say about that now?
I mean, I owe him an apology. I just had hoped that it was something going on. You know, at first, yeah, he's coming off a winning season, so I question it. But, you know, I'm like, well, maybe they're thinking of something that I'm not thinking about. Maybe they're thinking of the future with Tua, because I'd heard that maybe they didn't have the best dynamic. But again, clearly we're seeing that it's no longer true, and it's just disheartening. I hope what comes of this again is just change within these teams. I hope Brian Flores gets a job. He was saying that he doesn't think he'll get one after this, but I hope he does, because he's a man that deserves to be in this league, along with a lot of other black coaches that deserve jobs in this league. It's about time.
Yes. Well, I hope this lawsuit will continue to shed light on places within the NFL that need change and reform. Before we head to break, I want to talk about another part of the NFL that's involved in court proceedings. The Washington football team, who finally picked a name. Let me try to say this as seriously as I can. They'll now be known as the Washington Commanders. I'm not alone here on not being too fond of that name, especially with the allegations of sexual misconduct against the team. Kelly, I want to start with you. What was your initial reaction to hearing this new team name?
Honestly, I thought it was a joke. I thought that it was something like a fan had let out, because I'm a big fan of The Handmaid's Tale, and the bad guys in that show are the Commanders, who hurt everyone and ruin everything. So instantly that's where my brain went. And it's funny because it's a show that's become fairly popular since they have been without a name. But I don't think the uniforms work. I don't think anything works. They could have gone with 1,000 better names. I hate it.
Alex, what was your initial reaction?
All right, hot take Alex coming. It's not that bad. We have a football team named the Browns. We have a basketball team named the Nets, and you're mad at
but this
Commanders.
is not a comparison.
The uniforms are good. Okay, the uniforms are good. The black ones, I'll give you, they're not that great.
Alex, they've been sitting on picking a name for such a long time, and that
this
is
is what they
best
But
came
what'd
up
you
with.
want? All the names they wanted are trademarked. They can't use them.
Something about the Commanders being used for a team that currently has women testifying.
Oh no, that's wild.
That's
I'm
what
not
I'm
disagreeing.
saying.
That's wild.
No, I was telling Kelly before.
You need to have self-awareness.
I was like, do
Washington.
you think they Googled maybe the Commanders
Literally.
before they used it? Because I feel like that would have been the first thing that popped up.
They have to know
is
about
whatever's
the show.
in The Handmaid's Tale.
They
yeah.
have to know.
Look, I think they should have gone with the Red Tails. I think
That would have been better.
It is the perfect way. You were a racial slur, and now you're honoring.
Well, that way all the broadcasters who are always about to say Redskins
Yeah.
can just finish it off with Red Tails.
Yeah, so they should have gone with Red Tails because it's a great pivot from being a racial slur to now you're honoring Black history.
Right.
I think that was the perfect name, but I'm not mad at Commanders. I think everyone, if Twitter existed when the New Jersey Nets debuted their name, they would have blown up. If Twitter existed when the Browns got
Okay,
their
but
name.
it didn't.
Come on.
And this is time now, and this is 2022, and they had years to pick a name, so we're not going to go look
What do you-
back when they
all
picked
the
a name
name,
called
all
the
the
Nets.
names the fans
The
wanted.
internet
Red
didn't even
Wolves,
exist.
Admirals,
Like,
they were
what
all
did they have to
trademarked.
go off of? They have Google. They have literally everything. We could have looked up names we didn't even know existed. Like, this is what we come up with, people?
Yeah, I don't know if it makes any sense at
Lack
all, but
of
that is
creativity.
all the time we have to talk about this for now. But as we all know, this conversation is not over. When we come back, we'll lighten the mood a little bit and talk about people like Jamar Chase, Sony Michel, Matthew Stafford, and of course, Joe Burrow as they head into the Super Bowl. We'll be right back.
Cowboys versus Giants. Why? Because I am a New York Giants fan and I want my first pick of the week to be my team. I see an upset for the New York Giants this Sunday. Bet your entire savings, and I'm telling you right now, they're gonna win. I don't care what you say. It's gonna happen.
I have to go with the Raiders, I think, for this one. I don't see them losing.
Welcome back. It is now time for our primetime picks of the week, the best segment. I'm currently doing awful, standing at 16-10, Oklahoma State and Texas. I'm going Texas 35-27.
All right, Jeff, don't tell me your winner, but who is going to the Super Bowl?
the New England Patriots
Oh my gosh. Oh my
God.
gosh.
and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
God.
The
Oh
NFL is gonna
God.
the NFL is gonna make it happen.
And we're back. I want to say thank you again to our good friend Alex Funderburke for joining us for that discussion. We're going to try to lighten the mood here a little bit and talk about the upcoming Super Bowl. We want to give you our analytic predictions, but also our kind of silly ones. Let's start with the football stats. Kelly, before the game starts, who is winning the coin toss?
Joe Burrow. Chaos. Other team winning in the home team stadium. Immediate chaos. I need it.
Okay, Kayla, yeah.
I disagree. I think the Rams are going to get it with heads. That's
with,
my prediction.
with heads, you're calling the actual
I'm
like.
calling everything down to the specifics. I think the Rams win the coin toss. It's heads, and
Okay,
Joe Burrow
Burrow
will come
tails
back
then.
from it.
Okay, I'm agreeing with Kayla here. I just think because we're in LA, SoFi, the second time ever that a Super Bowl has been played in a home field, I think that the Rams will get it. I think that the
I
luck
should
is
have
kind of
looked
on
up
their
if
side.
Tampa won it last year because I would have gone off that.
That's true.
But come on. I
just
feel like the
feel like-
Rams just aren't going to do it.
I think the Bengals are going to win. We'll get to that later. But I think the Rams will win the first coin toss.
Okay, hot
for
take.
sure.
Miss
Okay, so
Squirrel.
whoever wins the coin toss wins the game?
No.
No.
Because
No, because okay, whatever.
The Bengals already came back from a coin toss. They lost once. They could do it
There we
again.
go.
Okay.
So next, I want to know, Hannah Jo, how many times is Burrow getting sacked this game?
Okay, for me, there's a difference here between what I hope is going to happen, like praying it's going to happen, and what probably will happen. I'm going to pray for three times that he gets sacked, and I'm going to say he'll probably get sacked about 6 times. And that is still kind of on the lucky side when you have a man named Aaron Donald on the other side of the ball. Kelly, what do you think?
I'm going 4.
Okay.
Because I think 6 is too many. Because I think after his O-line stepped up for him 2 weeks ago, I think they're going to continue to do that because this is the game that matters the most, and there is a big win on the line, and also a lot of money on the line as well. So
Okay, but did they really step up? I think they just got lucky.
I think you do. I mean, think about back when we were athletes or we were in theater. Big day, the adrenaline's up.
You're right.
You do better because you were under that pressure and this is it. This is the final hurrah. So you do, because some guys, this might be their last game playing in the league. So
True. Kayla, what do you think about the number?
I think he'll get sacked 3 times.
Okay.
But again, still be able to perform in the end. He's done it before.
Yeah.
And I think we're negating Stafford will also get sacked. He'll get sacked twice.
Oh, okay. I didn't even think about Stafford getting sacked, to be honest.
I know. I
with
saw
you.
the Burrow and I was like, we have to talk about
Yeah,
the
you're
other
right. We
side.
should have done both sides. I'm just so scared for
Right.
Joe.
me too. Okay, but let's talk about the Rams and their star receiver, Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
How many touchdowns do we think he'll have? I'll go first. I'm going to be crazy here. I'm going to say 3.
I said 3 too.
I'm going to say 3 too.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Okay, if all 3 of us think that, it has to be true.
Okay, angel
Yeah.
numbers.
Great minds think alike. Okay, well, what about on the other side of the ball, Jamar Chase? Kayla, how many touchdowns do you think he will receive?
I think 2 to 3.
2, 2, 3.
Yes, I'm kind of in the middle there. I guess I'll lean more towards 2.
Okay, what about you, Kelly?
I think he's going to be responsible for a lot of positive yardage, but I think he's only going to get in for 1 touchdown.
Ooh, see, I put 2. But
else
Kelly,
do you
now that I
think-
hear you say that out loud, I'm kind of I kind
Right.
of feel that.
Yeah, because honestly, if you look at a lot of their touchdowns that they've had in the playoffs and in the season, it's not Jamar Chase. So I mean,
Yeah.
while he is making up this very large positive yardage for the team, he's not the one completing the transaction.
So who do you think is going to be the one?
I don't know. I don't want to jinx myself, so I'm just going to keep to myself.
Okay, well, how many interceptions will be thrown? Let's start with Matthew Stafford. How many interceptions is Matthew Stafford going to throw in this game?
I don't know. I think maybe 1, because I'm going to say Joe Burrow's not going to throw any. Hot take.
No.
Hot
Oh, gosh.
take. Hot take, but I don't think he's going to throw any interceptions, even with
very-
Aaron Donald.
I think Matthew Stafford is throwing 2. BJ Hill is catching at least one of them. And I think Joe Burrow is throwing 1. Jalen Ramsey is catching.
That's okay. I think that Joe's throwing at least 2. I'm sorry, but I think the pressure is going to be too much for him, and he might make a bad decision.
I mean, we've seen Joe Burrow in the most high-pressure season of his life.
I know,
and
but
he's
this is
handled it
like
well.
the Rams defense.
I don't think so.
He was going up against Kansas City. That was a game they were supposed to lose. I think he knows how to handle pressure absolutely just fine. I think he's got it under control for sure.
I just feel like if you're underestimating people like Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, Von Miller, that's a bad place to be in. He hasn't played against this defense. He hasn't really proven himself. And I think, Aaron Donald's the type of guy to get into under someone's skin who's used to pressure like Joe Burrow. So I feel like he's going to get scared and he's going to feel like he doesn't have any time and he's just going to throw
I don't think
to
so.
a blue jersey.
I don't think so.
Okay, well, I'm glad you guys have faith in him. I really am glad. Okay, so let's move to Mr. Joe Mixon on the Bengals. How many yards is Joe Mixon running for, Kelly?
2, just kidding.
Just kidding.
Honestly, I'm just going to go a smooth, happy 75 yards.
Okay.
Because, I don't know.
That's fair.
I don't know what to expect from him in this game. I really don't, so.
Right, what about you, Kayla?
I'm going to say, over 65 yards for sure. I think it's going to be a solid game for him for sure.
Well, my good friend and analyst, Gadiel Cartagena, said that he doesn't feel like they're going to run the ball a ton. Joe's going to be throwing it. So I'm going to go kind of like maybe 50 yards. I know that's not a lot, but I feel like they'll be throwing the ball a lot, and Joe Mixon won't be
Definitely
getting the
under
yards that he
100.
maybe usually does.
Right.
I can see that.
Yeah. So how many yards will Cam Akers or Sony Michel run for?
This is where, I think Sony Michel is going to be a big part of the game
Do
for the
you?
Rams.
Okay.
I do. I think he's going to try to run all over them. I don't think it's going to be successful, but I'm thinking around 173. Specific.
Okay, that's a lot.
Specific.
That's a lot.
With Cam Akers, I'll probably go maybe about 75 myself, but we have to move on. We're running out of time, and I want to get to the fun ones.
Okay.
So first off, we'll start with the National Anthem. Over under 95 seconds.
I think she's going over.
Over for sure.
Yeah.
Drama.
I think she's going over.
She's going to kill it, but it's going to be over.
Right.
It's the biggest platform. This is for singers to kind of show everything they got going on, and I think she's going to hold out. Land of the
definitely.
Free, that's what they always hold out. That's the one.
For sure.
And then out
Yeah,
of the many artists that will be performing at the halftime show, who is making the first appearance on stage? This one I've been personally toying with. So, Hannah Jo, what do you think?
Snoop Dogg. He was the first one to be announced that he was going to be at the halftime show. It's just Snoop Dogg. La-da-da-da-da. That's what's going to happen.
I don't think so. I think Kendrick Lamar is going to open it up, and then it's going to maybe transition to Dr. Dre. I don't know. I don't see Snoop Dogg being the first one.
Kendrick's going to be a surprise. Mary J. Blige is not starting it. That's
No.
for sure.
Right.
Kelly, what do you think?
Okay, well, first of all, why did Eminem come? Second of all, I agree with you, Hannah. I think it's going to be Snoop Dogg, and I think he's
you.
going to walk out to that song as well. I think, honestly, if they were smart, they would finish it off with Kendrick Lamar or Mary J. Blige. I would like Mary J. Blige to finish it off just because woman, so.
They might all just come up from the stage at the same time, and then we'll all be wrong.
Yeah, who knows? They just all come out together, sing a song that they just wrote together.
Literally.
I know, imagine.
That'd be iconic.
That would be very iconic. I'm excited for it for sure.
Yeah.
Now, what will the Gatorade color be? Last year,
Purple.
I think it was blue. Hannah Jo said purple.
Purple.
I think yellow.
That's a very interesting choice, Hannah Jo. What makes you think purple?
Purple is my favorite color.
Is grape Gatorade
it's my
your
favorite
favorite flavor?
Gatorade too. I know blue is everyone's favorite, but I like purple.
I'm gonna go with red.
'Kay.
Just to spice things up.
You're probably right. Well, blue and purple make red.
Yeah, you know.
Oh, blue.
And then, will any player propose to a girlfriend after the game?
No.
Hannah Jo.
Valentine's Day is the next day. They're not going to do that. No.
Joe Burrow hasn't even posted a picture of his girlfriend. He's
Yeah,
not
so apparently
proposing.
a lot of them have been in that same situation, so I don't know if any of them will be. But Hannah Jo, I want to throw it to your Woman of the Week before we head out.
Absolutely. So, my woman of the week is a woman named Robin Herman. She is an amazing journalist. She was one of the first women to ever go into a locker room after a hockey game in 1975. She said that she wanted to kind of fly under the radar and not have everyone pay attention, but of course, all the guys were not used to that happening, so they're grabbing towels and all the other reporters are grabbing cameras to capture that moment. She said that it was a big moment because it made the world realize that female sports writers and reporters are here and they need to be dealt with, was her words. So it's just amazing. I mean, can you imagine back in the day in the locker room, a place that's so intimate that we say, oh, that's locker room talk, or guess what he was saying in the locker room. It's an intimate place, especially for athletes, for male athletes. And women made their way in, Robin Herman being one of those pioneers. Kayla, what is your reaction to that, thinking about back then being one of the first women to go into a locker room after a game for a post-game interview?
No, I was amazed by her entire story when I first read it, when you sent me the article. I think it's surprising me that she's not more universally known. And what stuck out to me was that she wanted it to fly under the radar. I just thought that was so funny because she just wanted it to be normal, which is what every woman wants all the time, is just for it to be normal for them to be in sports, for it to be normal for them to be talking about it, interviewing players. It was obviously, she said players were grabbing their towels, players were kind of freaking out because it was the first time, but I definitely think, she paved the way for a career of women talking about sports all the time now. So I think that was what truly stuck out to me.
Yeah, I mean, she's a genius. She was a reporter for a while. She was part of Princeton's first graduating class to have women in it. And she reported on all kinds of things, health, Iran, hostages in Iran, all kinds of crises like homelessness, and then of course sports. So this is just one of her many things. Kelly, what does it say about a well-rounded woman who can report on sports and health and homelessness? What does that say?
It shows you just how you should take her word for granted, because she knows what she's talking about and she has seen life from lots of different perspectives and can put it towards sports and something she enjoys and write about it and talk about the serious stuff. So I think it's amazing what she was able to do for the movement, and the fact that she was the first and the fact that she did it so quietly so that it would just become normalized rather than be made a huge deal is very, very big. So
I thought this would be a great way to honor her. She did sadly pass away last Tuesday, which is also National Women and Girls in Sports Day. She passed away at the age of 70 from ovarian cancer. She was with her husband and her children. So that was just why I picked her, since she recently passed away, in a way to honor her. So I'm really hoping that more people will look into who she was and be inspired by her story.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that this story was brought out. I'm glad that her legacy will live on. I mean, it's clear when you look at reporters in every sport now. I think it's amazing what her impact has done for sports. She has a legacy that will live on forever, clearly, and I hope the story kind of circles a lot more. But that is all the time we have for now. Thank you so, so much for joining us. From myself, Kelly, and Hannah Jo, have a great week. We'll see you next time.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step